another video. I got a video on the camera. I haven't transferred it over to the computer yet. So I'm making another one. So I kind of get a backlog of them. I think I've got my camera / PC problem figured out. Anyway, I'm going to take a break from politics. I understand how a lot of people are disillusioned with the political system and process. I get it. But it's just almost futile to do political videos anymore. Because it falls into 3 categories. One, and this is not just YouTube, this is America. One, people don't care. They're tired of hearing about it. They group them all into the same corrupt politicians, Democrats, Republicans. And yes, there's corruption on both sides. I get it. I understand. But they're disillusioned and they want to bitch about it. They don't want to become involved. The less we're involved, the worse it gets. I said that in the last video, if I ever get it up. The second group strongly disagrees with me, and therefore I am an idiot and a moron, and I don't know what I'm talking about. Or the third group is the ones that do agree with me, and then it's preaching to the choir, which is okay. It's fun sometimes to bounce things off of other people, but the long and short of it is very few people are actually truly open-minded. And I try myself to be open-minded. It may not sound like it in my videos, but I really do. I mean, even though I'm predisposed to vote for the Democratic Party, I look at the Republican candidates, but I always see something that I don't like. Anyway, let's get off of that and on to something else. Not much going on in my life, I'm semi-retired. I'm enjoying the hell out of it. I wouldn't mind to get a part-time job, get me a little extra cash flow going, but I'm not hurt. I can get by. And I honestly don't have a lot of time to do a lot of things, but it seems like I'm busy a lot, which is odd. I do watch TV. I watch probably more TV than I used to, And what am I watching now? Game of Thrones. It's a good show. I mean, I love the fantasy genre, and it took me a while to get into the Game of Thrones. I think it's on HBO. I'm not real sure. But it's actually done very well. It's done very well. And for so many years in my life, fantasy was second-class literature. Unless you're talking Tolkien or something like that. But with the Lord of the Rings movies and Harry Potter, which I've never read, when something's that intensely popular, I generally stay away from it. I don't know why. I guess I don't like to follow the bandwagon. And it may be good. I'm not knocking it because I've never really seen that much of it. But with the success of that, fantasy's kind of been catapulted into a more of a respectable genre than it used to be when I was growing up and reading Stephen R. Donaldson and Dragon Riders of Pern, which really wasn't that good. All that stuff. C.S. Lewis, you name it, I've read it in the fantasy world pretty much. And there's a lot of it out there. I've got a Kindle Fire, which is awesome. And I pretty much download books for free. Because there's a ton of books you can download on those Kindles. And I got the Kindle Fire, and man, it's freaking awesome. I mean, it's just like technology is just so intense anymore. I guess I'm getting old where technology has left me behind. But man, my Kindle Fire does everything my laptop does, and it does it quicker and better. except for like word processing. I've yet to send email off of it, but I think I can. I got access to any website I want to on it. But I've got a lot of books on it, and there's a lot of classics that's for free. I'm reading a little fantasy novel right now. I'm not sure who's the author. And it's not too bad. It's When Women Were Warriors or something. And yeah, it's kind of a chicky book in a way, but it's not bad. I read Red Nails by, I think, Robert Howard, which is one of the Conan books. I'm not sure. It may be the first Conan book. Even when I was in high school, which is when I did most of my fantasy reading, a lot of it, I was never a big fan of Conan. The movies are awesome. I own the movies of Conan. The books are just like, they're just like real fluff, But it's good for a quick fantasy fix, really. But the Game of Thrones is actually pretty good. And on HBO, I think, or maybe Showtime. I'm not sure which one. It's pretty good. It's taken me a little while to get all the players figured out and who's what, but it's not bad. It's really pretty good. I think it's pretty popular too, which sucks, but it's really a pretty good fantasy show. Walking Dead, I love that show. I may have talked about it before, I don't know. I know Methadone for Life talked about it. It's awesome. But it's it doesn't start back until fall, I think, which sucks. This is a great show. And it's a little draggy in times, it really is. It's a little slow, but it's awesome. I can't wait till the third season starts, The Walking Dead. I watch Swamp People. I've been watching that since the beginning. And I love it, although it's getting a little redundant and a little boring. But at first, it was pretty fun to see this world that I haven't experienced, down in the Louisiana swamp and the Cajuns and how they make their living in the swamp and hunt alligators. And it's a cool show. But like with all reality shows, they're only good for so long, because after a while, it's like I think it's the Heisenberg principle, which is something along the lines of, if you're observing an object and they know you're observing them, they're going to eventually act different. You can look it up, you can Google it. I think it's Heisenberg principle. Is what happens with these so-called reality shows, But it's fascinating, and like I said, it's kind of boring now because it's the same thing every episode. They go out and hunt alligators, But it's nice to see a culture that I'm not familiar with. It's nice to experience that. Someday when I'm truly retired, that's what I want to do. I want to drive around the country and go to these remote parts that nobody ever thinks about going, into the Louisiana swamp, into, areas of the country, even West Virginia, where my buddy Methadone for Life is from, experience the culture of the coal mining and that whole, area. Just, there's so many places in America that are so cool, go back east. I've been back east, but I was back east on business and I never had time to do anything. But I wouldn't mind to go back east and see some of the colonial history that they have a lot of back there. And west, I love the west. Me and a buddy of mine, we have this plan that even if we ever do get married, he's been married and divorced, but if I ever get married, which probably won't happen, when we're truly retired, we're going to buy an RV, and we're just going to run the country. That's my retirement plan. Started out as a joke, but I'm kind of looking forward to that. I'm already at 10 minutes, man. This sucks. Anyway, what else? I I watch, sometimes history has some good documentaries. I started watching Mysteries at the Museum, and I think that's Travel Channel. But it's not as good as I thought it would be. I watch Food Network a lot, actually. Diners and drive-ins and dives. I like that for the same reason. You get to see places that you don't normally see, or you wouldn't see. And I actually am kind of a foodie. I wouldn't mind. I know a lot of people do it, and it's pretty popular, but I wouldn't mind to go to some of those joints they feature on that show, and there's actually a couple of them that's not too far from me. And I'd like to run down there one of these days and have lunch. Go kind of on a foodie tour. I don't really like the Iron Chef programs and all that stuff, but some of the cooking shows are okay. It's funny. I guess I was socialized into liking cooking shows because I can remember when I was just a real young kid that I used to watch, and my mom would, and I would too. Dad would be at work, and my sister would be at school, and I wasn't in school yet. I would watch Galloping Gourmet. That dates me, takes you back, if anybody knows who the Galloping Gourmet is. I used to watch that when I was a kid, so I guess I'm just predisposed to watching Food Network. I don't like a lot of them on there. I like Guy Fieri, the Diners and Drives. I like his Big Bite show. Paula Deen is kind of cool. I'd probably eat about anything Paula Deen cooks. Southern cooking. Most of her stuff looks pretty good. On the other channel, I watch No Reservations with Anthony Bourdain, and he's just one snarky, snide son of a bitch. And sometimes I like him and sometimes I don't. He's really got that New York attitude. And it's funny with him because he's actually been close to my area too. And when he travels to these backwater areas in America, which he's been to several, he acts different than if he's in the middle of Kenya, eating a freaking gut sausage or some shit. He acts like he's really enjoying that because it's sophisticated and cool and cosmopolitan. But if he goes to some small town backwater area in the U.S., he acts like, wow, he's on another planet. But he's all right. I kind of like him. I like No Reservations better than I like The Layover. Can't think of what else I watch. I'm already out of time. And I know I said in one video, I think I have that one up, that it's hard for me to watch 15-minute long videos, and here I am making a 15-minute long video. But you can watch it in parts, or I might bust it up in parts. I did watch Pawn Stars for a while, but I'm sick of those guys, Again, it's the same thing. It's just the same thing every show. People bring this stuff in, and it's so hilarious to me, though, the Pawn Stars, because those guys, they act like they think they're the greatest negotiators on the planet on that show, and they're so obvious. You could browbeat the hell out of them. I was raised, my father, who, not politically correct, but he lived on Jewing people down. That's what he would call it, And he wouldn't buy shit unless he Jewed people down on the price or had them kick in something. And I watch these Pawn Star guys, and they think they're so cool and really tough negotiators and shit. If I ever go to Vegas again, I'll go by that shop and show them how it's done, because they're just like amateurs, Anyway, I'm out of time. Long video, sorry for that, but that's how it goes. Talk to y'all later. Peace.